G'day, I'm Appy Dave, and in this live stream today I'm going to teach one of my team members how to create a presentation from someone else's live stream. And the reason we're doing this is that OpenAI just did a live stream yesterday, and I want to convert it into a video, and I've asked Jan if he could put together the images, come up with a storyline and come up with a template. Now he's done part of the job, and what we're going to do is see whether we can take it a bit further. So let's get into it. So the first thing I'm going to do here is let's bring us down to the web view and just make sure that this live stream has started. So we're on live, and here it is, teaching a team member to build a presentation from a live stream. Now normally I would have a lot more preparation in place, but we just got onto a Zoom call. I was seeing the direction he went in, and I thought rather than teach him using Loom and Zoom, which is my normal technique, I'd do it straight to the internet. So let's look at the presentation that he's put together, and we'll talk through the ideas that we want to work from here. So essentially OpenAI have come up with another agent. They're calling it. It's called Deep Research. Now I haven't watched the live stream. I saw the transcript, but I haven't really watched it. So if I'm going to do a video on this, I need to understand it as a bunch of ideas and outlines, something like that. What Jan has done is he's come through and he's taken all the screenshots and he's put it into a template-based system. And what I'd like to highlight here is that there are a few concepts going on in the presentation. We've got up here a top area which I would call a chapter. So when we do an outline, we probably need to think about it being broken up into chapters. Next thing is whatever is showing on the screen will be around a topic within that chapter. So maybe it's the OpenAI Deep Research live stream might be enough. But what is it in particular? Discovery, synthesis, and reason. Now, I don't know whether this is accurate because I'm not sure whether this is from a previous presentation or whether Jan has put something in there. But these are the sorts of fields that I'd like to populate in an automated fashion. Now, any presentation that I would do to a real video on, say, Appy Dave would get much more of a set. It wouldn't just be the AI. The AI is really just to speed up our process. So that's where we're at. Now, normally I would also do a plan, and the plan for this one is going to be on A26. I'll just talk through briefly what it's going to be. Actually, let's fill it out quickly as we go. So if you're watching this video, then you're probably a business owner who wants to train his team, right? Train their team, train the team. There's someone who wants to create lessons, SOPs, stuff like that. So I'm just going to take this information over here, and while we're at it, we'll bring up a GPT. We'll go into this one. I've called it 26 for now, and I'm just going to paste in the information. I'm going to make sure I've got a copy of the GPT link so that I can find it later. And what I'm ultimately going to end up with is the next step, which is defining what this video is about. Now, because this is not strictly speaking about this section, it's only making sure that I've got clarity in what I talk about today. I won't go into this too deeply, but I will still fill it in. And I'm just going to leave that for a second, move on to the next area, and I just want to know what it thinks the goal and the concept is, and then after that I will list the points that I want to talk about. The reason I do this, and when I do a live stream, it takes between 20 minutes and an hour. I did have a couple on the weekend, which all up went for 2.5 hours. And this one is off the cuff. We've just we got into a Zoom meeting, and I thought, no, this needs to be a live stream. So we're just doing it, which is why you're actually seeing this particular phase. But in a normal day-to-day operation of a live stream for me, this is actually something that I would do something like 10 or 15 minutes before the live stream. Yeah, I keep pressing the wrong button for some reason. So let's have a look at what we got here. We'll just go into GPT Viewer. It says, enable corporate trainers, instructional designers and business leaders to efficiently transform live stream transcripts and structured actionable documents. By the end of the video, viewers will have a clear methodology for extracting insights. That's what we're going to do. That's pretty clear. Developing scripts and outlines and categorizing content into chapters and focus areas for effective training and knowledge sharing. Like, that's a perfect goal for what I want this to do. The concept, the video will be practical hands-on tutorial. Yep, that's what we're doing right now, guiding viewers through a process of converting live stream transcripts into well-organized training material. Yep, okay, this is great. So let's just go over to the talking points for a second. And the talking points that I want to do is turn a transcript into outline, chapters, focus areas, detail, categories. That's one. And then what I want to do is I want to shape the narrative. So the live stream is one thing, but I want to shape the narrative. So we'll call that there, and we'll say shape the narrative based on other educators in the space. So in this particular case, the live stream came out yesterday, and other educators have gone into the space and they've got their own way of thinking about things. So I think if I'm going to talk about something, I could just kind of repeat the live stream, but it might be nice to bring in some other insights from other people. And I think bring in my own specific view as well. So these are the three talking points I want to do. View as well, maybe in a recap, but I won't say that. So I'm just going to take this information, I'm going to paste it over here. Let's see what comes through in a moment. So we're going to get these three areas, which, well, we've only got two. I wonder why I did that. Focus, detail, yep, shaping. Okay, that'll do. It's thinking that there's only two. It hasn't kept them as separate, which is actually quite okay. So we'll just paste that in, and all we're trying to do now is make sure that the I made a mistake. I'm just gonna re-edit this. We just want to make sure that the initial goal of what I said we're going to do is in alignment with the talking points that I think I want to cover in this particular video. So it's giving us some suggestions. I'm not specifically going to read the justifications or changes. I'm just going to take them. I'm going to assume they're okay. And this is one of the things I love about this way of working with things, is that with the right sort of QA bots, and that's what this is. This is a QA agent. You can make changes in a flow and then go to the QA bot at the end of it, and it gives you really useful advice on how there's misalignment, I guess. So what I'm going to do is just copy this one and change the video goal, and that just means part of that has modified slightly, and we'll put that in there. And lastly, now the video that you're watching right now is currently called Teaching a Team Member to Build a Presentation from a Live Stream. Okay, that was the general idea. But because we've now run this through an actual plan, we might actually have a better name. So firstly, I'll just check the project name, because at the moment on my computer, and I'll just show you where it is on my computer right now, it's been saved into a folder called 26, which is pretty useless. So what I'm going to do is come back to a GPT view right here and go live stream to SOP outline. That's probably great. So I'm going to copy this information. We'll just go down to our view here, make sure we've got our project names listed. I'm going to mention the one that I actually like, which is this one, and I'm just going to paste that in there, and I'm also going to paste it into my system over here. And lastly, I'm going to get, now because it knows what the actual project name is, and I can just say, give me some titles and hopefully we'll get something. So as we said a moment ago, the current title is teaching a team member to build a presentation from a live stream. That's what I'm trying to do. Transform live streams to transform live stream transcripts into SOPs in 2024. Now, I'm not going to go deep here because this is usually something I would look into a little bit deeper. And in the planning phase, even long before we wrote this title, I would have picked it. And it's not something I can actually change in the live stream anyway. So at the moment, we've got our starting point. So the next step is to head over to YouTube. And what we will do is go live stream by OpenAI. So I'm not even set up for any of this. And we'll go deep research. And we're just going to grab the information that's here. And what we're going to do is we're going to try, and there it is. That's the video that we're after. So we're going to click on this. It'll start playing. We'll just pause on that and we'll copy the link. And from there, we'll go and find a YouTube transcript extractor, I think is what we want. And we'll just do a search, and which is the one I usually use. We'll just open a couple of them. I know it's not, I think it might be this first one actually. Let's just, yeah, this is the one. So we'll just click on that. We'll get the transcript and see what it comes up with. So now what we've got is everything that was said in this particular live stream. So I'm just going to copy the transcript and we'll get back over here. And I'm wondering whether I use the current window that we got here, or whether I start a new one. I think just for safety, I'll do a new one because I don't necessarily want to alter the plan. So here we are, we go, can we read? And we've got one other issue that we probably need to resolve. And I've got to build a tool around this, and that's one thing I do, but you know, like anything in life, do we actually have time to do it? So, hi everyone, this is Mark and I lead. Okay, no, actually I don't need to do anything. That I thought I might actually have to remove the timestamps, but that tool actually does it for me. So we'll go over here, we'll go GPT and we'll read. And hopefully, I've had a bit of problems with the custom instructions, but that one worked. Absorbed, how can I help? Because I didn't want it to do anything, right? That's the main thing. So let's write ourselves an outline. We'll try and get an outline out of this. I need to come to terms and understand this transcript quite quickly, and I think the best way to do that is for you to give me an outline of everything they talk about. You don't need to go into details just yet. We'll consider that once we have the outline. So at the moment, all I'm doing, and this is again something I would generally do as I get more workflows in place, just through a workflow builder. The steps that you're seeing, they're coming out of my head in real time because I've done them before. This is a workflow, a standard operating procedure. What is the problem with them coming out of my head is that they don't actually, they're not written the best way. The prompts aren't the best. And this is why I love workflows, because a workflow, we could be able to isolate each of these things that I'm doing as prompts down to just steps in the workflow, and it just generates it. So anyway, keep moving on. Introduction. Mark from OpenAI introduces session. We've got team members. They are, the focus is. Okay, cool. Now, most of that's not that relevant from my point of view. I'm going to educate people, my audience, on deep research. I'm not going to educate them on these people, right? Now, why they matter, the announcement, a demonstration. We've got two demos that we've got to look through. We've got a technical explanation. And I think as we're going through this, let's just go back to our Canva presentation. And hopefully everything we're talking about in that outline is already in this particular presentation. So I'm not sure, we'll see. Next thing is technical exploration, powered by the fine-tuned O3 reasoning model. I've just done a couple of live streams around this as well. And we got capabilities, user uploaded files. Okay, Python, cool. Performance benchmarks, great. So we got major areas. So this also then leads into, as we go through the presentation, this is a chapter, right? Just here. And as we go through and we get to about here, this is a new chapter. So as we move on to the next section, we would expect that this little template right here would exist right here. And we would expect that the words within it, I'm just going to copy that, having problems with Canva, put it there, would say usage or use cases. Whatever it said on the chapter change is what I'd like it to say here. And this is where templates are really important, because at the moment this is right aligned, and that is a challenge. So I'm just going to make it centered for now, and we'll go to there. So one of the things that I need to do, and I'll do it as part of this live stream, is we'll come up with a template, because ultimately I want to take all the information that we're seeing right here, and I want to basically create 96 slides. Now, why 96? The reason I want to do 96 or thereabout is if I go over to my folder structure, Jan has already delivered me 96 videos and a transcript. So the transcript that we just got, he's given me the transcript. Now, one of the things, because this is also educating Jan at the same time, I wouldn't put it in with the assets. I'd put it down here. So as we move back a bit, we can see what project we're doing. It's the 20-second concept idea on the Happy Dave Research channel. It's named, this is what I call a project name, OpenAI Deep Research. It's just simple, tells us what's in it. Within the folder will be any sort of documents that we need that sit with the project, and then there's some assets living out to the side. Now, if we just press Command A on all of that and see what we got 7.9 megabytes, and we got 62 items. So what that's suggesting to me is that we got 62 slides. But if I come over here and I go to the very end, I have 62 slides. Perfect. So when we take the outline and then we turn it into a slide deck, what we're really trying to do is say, because we've got 62 slides, which is a big slide show, we might want to reduce it for sure, but it's 62 ideas that can be talked about across 1 to 7 sort of chapters, probably 1 to 3 would be the best, 1 to 4, across each chapter having between 1 and 3 different topic ideas, across each topic idea being set in 1 or 2 slides. Now this text that you see here doesn't have to be there, it's optional. In fact, any of them can be considered optional. But the main thing I want to do is create all of those words. That's the main thing I want to do. So what I've got at the moment is here's a high level outline of what we just talked about. Again, not from anything I've ever written. This is someone else's live stream. It's sitting there and I'm not showing the right page. Really sorry about that, guys. We'll just pick the right pages again. So what you just missed in that section was that I had these areas, chapters, sections, and individual details, and all of that has come from this transcript. This transcript needs to reproduce it. So we have our outline, and now I've got this question: how do I match an outline with however many points are in there? There might actually be close to 62, I'm not sure, which would be good, to the actual slides I've got. Now, the best way would have been if the actual slides were named, and they haven't been. So we're going to go back to the folder and we're going to explain a problem that it's a little tedious to solve, but I think it's important. These file names do not help. All they do is tell us that we've got images and they're in order because there's a date and time stamp. When I'm doing a video for Happy Dave, for instance, what I would normally do is come over and we'll just pick, we'll pick here, and we'll pick something I did recently. This video is about to go up. It's called the LiveStream Planner. With the LiveStream Planner, I have recordings, and so I tend to, it's not done this way. It's not all in one take. It's not making obvious mistakes like showing the wrong screens. But what happens here is that as I record each section, I label it and categorize it straight away. So here we can see that we've got an intro, and there's only one of them, and it's the first chapter. Here we've got the chapters. It's also part of the first area of the video, and so it's number 2. And then we go on to the scenario, and I've got 4 videos that I talk about in the scenario, and we would call that chapter 2. So the reason this is a really powerful thing to do is I can go and get those as names, and let's see if we can do this easily. Well, let's head over to a terminal, and I specifically want a terminal. We'll go with that one, and we'll make sure we are on the right folder. So I'm just going to go into here, and we're in the directory at the moment where all of those files happen to be. And what I like to do is an ls pb copy. And what I've done is I've just put every file that happens to be in that folder right there into my clipboard, right? So now I've got all of them. I'll head over to a VS Code view. And again, this is another piece of tooling I want in the mix. So there's a application that I'm building called Fly Video, which is about automating myself as a YouTuber. So, but for now, we're doing it manually. So we put in there, we make sure that the files that don't matter are out of there. We get rid of the prefixes because they're not relevant for me figuring out the chapter names. We pop to the end and we just make sure that's gone. We select everything and then we just make sure we deduplicate. So now, from the files that I actually saved onto my computer, and how many were there? There was something like 41 of them. I've come up with 14 different chapters. Now, okay, we can reduce one of them because it's actually a problem. So we got 13. Now, why is knowing this important? If when you're recording information, you do take the time to categorize it correctly as it goes onto your computer, then you've got all this rich information that you can compare against the transcript and say, well, this is what I think the chapters are because I recorded it this way. And you've got the transcript, so you know everything I said. Could you come up with chapters based on my chapter ideas and what I said? Now, if we go back to where we're actually working, and so we'll go back to the folder view, and we'll figure out that how to get back to the right location, and it's 22, and we look at assets. Now, if when the 62 images were captured, they were ordered, the ordering is important. So even if it was just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 62, that would be fine. Geez, let's do it, right? So we would say something like 01, or we might go 001 if we think we're going to go over 100, but I'm just going to go with 01. And for here, I might just say home, right? And so now the image is both sequential. It's the first image in my folder, and it's named. We go to the second one, and that might be 002, because that's the second image, and we might call this scenario. Right, now let's say the scenario goes on for a couple of times. I might just take that name right there, go to here and call it scenario 2, and I'd make it number 3. In fact, I don't actually need to do the 2 because the sequence will remain in place. Now we haven't done that, so I'm not going to be able to use the technique of using all of these file names to help me understand the nature of the script. I'm only going to be able to work off the script itself. So we come back to the script itself, which is up here, and the fact that we have this, and we can now start writing another prompt. And the prompt is, let's break this down into about 62 parts, mainly because that's about how many images we've got. I would like you to use the outline for guidance, and definitely use the transcript as your source of truth. And from that, my colleague has gone and created 62 slides. So he believes that there are 62 different concepts going on in this transcript. But you've given me an outline which, from my point of view, talks about major chapters, and it also talks about major ideas within each chapter. What I would like you to do is figure out whether you can spread that over 62 bullet points. I do want you to keep the chapter names as well. Now, this can be a bit of a challenge to get it right, and it's harder because we don't actually have the file names labeled correctly. But at the end of it, we're up to 8 at the moment. If we get close to 62, what we'll end up with is what we could consider 62 slides, and we'll be able to generate them really quickly in Canva because Canva has a bulk generation point of view. So here we go. Now, it's not until we test it for real that we will know whether our images match, and we are going to have to change stuff. There's no total automation in this particular technique that I'm showing, but we'll see where we get to. The other thing that to note here is that I am only using the 4.0 model. If I use something like the reasoning models that are being coming out, like O3 Mini, I'd have even better capability because it'll think this through a lot deeper than it's doing at the moment. But it looks like we're getting to the end of it. And while we're doing that, I'm going to start writing the next prompt because I think this is pretty good. So what I'd like you to do is turn this into a table, and the table has to have multiple columns. The first column will be the slide number. The second column will be the chapter heading. The third column will be the focus area within this chapter. And the fourth column will be the details. Now, currently you've given me chapters, you've also given me details, but we haven't thought too much about whether any of these details should be grouped into a focus area. That's what I'd like. Can you do it? I was going to do this as a canvas, but I'm having problems with Canvas not wanting to get out of Canvas when we're finished. But, now, the fact that it's gone into analyzing is also telling, because what we're going to get is probably a spreadsheet already, a table for download. It'll be in Excel format, which it wouldn't have been the best format for the demonstration. It's not even the format I usually like. I like to do that as the next step in the workflow, is get the spreadsheet. So what we'll do is, that's doing its job. Look at that. This is a new concept I saw recently in ChatGPT, where it'll put the tables directly in. So let's just go over to a web view and we'll drag this over because it'll look better here. So now what we've got is slides, and we've got 62 of them, which is great. We've got chapters, so the introduction, and we've got the focus area, etc. So I think what we'll do, these details are great, and this is almost like what you want to talk about on the slide. That's there. Mark introduces the live stream. If that was like important, I would talk about it, but it's not. But as I said earlier, when we look at the actual sample presentation, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say Mark introduces the live stream, like here, right? OpenAI Deep Research live stream, currently what we've got. And how do we make this easier for everyone? Let's put that over there. Put this back over here and go into this view and say, okay, how do you get rid of this? Do that. Cool. So what we're kind of seeing is that we're on slide number 1. We've got a chapter called Introduction. So if I use this as a template, we'd get Introduction here. Now, this is not good enough. I would want to modify that. That wouldn't make too much sense because it's too general. But stuff like this could, and I'll rephrase that. So this is also, sorry, the chapter would actually go up here, introduction. So it could be that. But I would probably call it deep research. That would be a better name than introduction. So the first 4 have problems. And then what are we talking about? Now, let's just move on to something a little bit better. Context, why agents matter. So I don't know what's in this presentation so far. What, use cases, and maybe it goes into why. So if we find that the images don't quite fit with the text that we're looking at, this will be something that we can fix in post-production. This is not something that I'm going to go into here because I will have quite a few challenges ensuring that the actual text over in this window, wherever it is aligned with what was actually done, because they were done using 2 totally different processes. But this is, again, teaching my team member how they could have gone about doing this. They've taken the screenshots, but they layered the screenshots without thinking about what was written here. And what we're trying to do is think about what is written. So we've written it all. So I think what I'll do now is come back to our web view here and say, can you convert it into a CSV file? Can you convert to CSV? And the reason this is important, I could change things, but I'm trying to upload it directly into Canva. Now, I will make one more modification. Actually, can you add in one more column to the table? And based off the details, can you give me a label that succinctly states the details? And that's coming through right now. It's coming through under my camera at the moment, so you can't see it. But what I'm hoping to do is, if the details are what I want to say in the presentation, then the new column that hopefully is coming through will be the label that I'd want to see in the Canva presentation. Now, it's done it into the actual message line. So let's collapse that so you can see what we're looking at. It's right here. And I'm just going to press download on that. And currently it's coming down to my computer. Where the heck has it gone? It's gone over there. And we'll come back to our VS Code, which is right here. I'll just make sure it's available for us. So here's all the information. I should be able to edit this CSV. We can see it, and there'll be this new column added, and it's column 5. Let's just turn on the read options, make sure we've got a header that's turned on. So it's label. So AIs and agents, then there's general information, then there's deep research. So we go cool. So what we will now do is get out of there, come back to Canva, go over here, and we will just, why is it not coming up? There it is. Put it in play right here. Go to home, because I need a template. So the work has been done manually here. It was based off the last presentation we did. We will just clone it, and we will make a copy of it. And what we could essentially call it as a template is Appy Dave LiveStream template, something like that. And it's not only that, it's only the pages, because there's other templates that we would need around the sections, the intro, the outro. They would not go in here because otherwise they'd get repeated for every idea, and we do not want that. So what we'll do is we'll click in here. We will disconnect the image. So the image is now not part of the template, if I can do it right. Damn it. And we'll delete it. Can we just delete it? Thank you. We will go and select this one, and we'll bring it into here and we'll paste it. we will go and select everything in here, make sure that we are on the template. We are, and we'll just go straight to the end of it, and we will delete everything because this is the only thing we need for a template. And then what we will do is we will figure out this bulk create system. I don't use it all the time. Enter, not manually, we want to upload data. I think we can go straight to my downloads directory. You probably can't see what I'm doing, that's okay. We'll click on that file. And now we have a CSV file with a slide number, a chapter, which we want to put here. So I think what we can do is we can connect data. We'll go straight to chapters. This is cool. We'll go to here, and what's this one? Going to connect this straight to the focus area, which is cool. And we're going to go straight to here, and we're going to connect this to the label, not the details, not very relevant. I don't know where you can put notes in here. Looks like you can. Notes can. It'd be really nice if I could put the notes into there, but I don't know whether that's actually available. So at this point, these would be better off named. We could call it chapter, I guess. They would be better off aligned correctly as well. I tend to prefer left align with a little bit of padding, and then what I do is I'll move the end of it. So what I'll probably also do is group them. So they're grouped. We'll come to here. We'll make sure it's where we want it to be. It is left aligned, and we'll just change this. So this is focus area, and I just undo for 1 second. Yeah, I think I might make it the particular branding color is the dark brown. So we'll go to dark brown here, and last one, and it's not lined properly. And I did have problems in the last live stream of this not actually feeling like it was correct. We'll put that there. We'll move that one there, and we'll call that label. Now these words don't matter. They're only so I can visually see when I come to this page that we got a chapter, focus area, and label. The actual purple bits are the things that have been actually mapped. So we go with that. We go, our template is done. At this point, we can now generate the presentation based off the steps that we went from. Let's bring them all up. GPT, come back here. So we started from, here we go, wrong window, GPT and web. We started from a live transcript. Okay, hi everyone, my name is Mark. That's what he said. From that, we went to an outline. So now we have an outline of everything Mark said. What we weren't able to do was force that outline into a particular shape based off the images we actually captured. Because this is where I said earlier, if we'd have captured the images in groupings with the labels that made sense for the image, it would have made this area a lot easier, but it's a little bit tedious to do as well. So you might not want to do that. I do, but I get pedantic about these things. So we've got our outline, it's there. And then I've said, okay, now that you've given me an outline, let's start shaping this so that we can extract the concepts that matter. The chapter name and details are great, but I also want to know the focus area, and I want a label, because I don't want to have that written on the screen. And so we did that. We firstly didn't do it with the label. I only got the details. And then I made a modification here so that we had the details as well. Now, this is literally a set of steps. It's about 5 or 6 steps that you could run on any live stream and get to where we want to go. But let's see it in action. So we'll come over here, and I'm assuming, ignore that. Let's just generate. So it's found all the information. It's put it in there. We'll press this view. And what it'll do is create a brand new Canva presentation. So we've still got the template. If we don't like this, we can regenerate it again. So if we go, oh, geez, it shouldn't be yellow. It should actually be that. No, not a problem. Come back to your template, do a regeneration, which we'll do. We might as well. doesn't cost anything. And that'll come through. And now we've got that all the way through. There's another issue we might run into. We might, like the text that's coming through is a bit average, but we'll come back to this one. So now we've got the opening, introduction, location and purpose, focus, stream focus. Now, I don't just use these the way they are. There's way too many changes, but it gets me started. And this is the main goal that I'm trying to do. And as I look through this, and I see these long ones, these are other constraints I might want to do in the GPTs so that I don't get these long ones. These introductions or these chapters should have been a lot smaller. They really should only be one word normally, maybe 2 words. Okay, so that's it. It's now just a case of going back to the original set of images, which are either in this presentation, not this one. That was wrong. How did I get that so wrong? That's template. It's this one. They're either in this presentation and transferring them, or they're also available down on the computer right here. And it's probably easier to work with them here because you can just drag them directly into the presentation. So that have I got the right view? Doesn't look like it. Close that out. We do now. These files could be dragged directly into each slide one at a time. And so we cut down a lot of work. Now, are there more automations we can do to this? Certainly, there's a whole lot more automations. I also mentioned, and I'm only going to go into it briefly because this was a training session purely around these ideas. But if I want to bring in something more interesting than the live stream, because the live stream shares it's some examples, some analogies, it's some walkthroughs. But if you go to YouTube and you say OpenAI live stream, something like that, and you see there's people OpenAI live. Oh, wrong. What are we doing? We're doing OpenAI Deep Research Agent. I won't do that. We'll get all these people with their opinions, and they'll have these crazy expressions, and they'll have these crazy titles. And the title helps you understand that they're not just repeating the live stream. They're coming at it from a different angle. Let's make sure we're here. And research agents are insane. Why are they insane? Because that certainly wouldn't have been shared in the live stream. So what you can do is you can look through this and you go, this person's got 1/4 times his channel average, 1/2. Anyone else doing better? 1.6, 2.1. This one did really well. Feel the AGI. So here we're learning stuff about titles. What I could be doing with this is taking the 3 best, right? I don't want too much. And I'm not trying to plagiarize. I'm trying to steal like an artist. Take other people's ideas and then put them into my own language. And what I could do is open this one, and I could open this one, and I'll start playing in a second.
Interestingly, it does
and we'll just hit pause on this.
Folks,
and then I can go get the transcripts from them. So now these transcripts are actually here. You don't actually have to use a tool like I did earlier. It's just easier. But you can see the transcript here. So every word he said in this video is right here. So what I'd often do, and this is again where the workflow can get more expansive and go into a little bit more nuance, I guess, is that I can say, what are these 3 people's opinions? Because we've already got the original transcript that we're turning into a presentation, but what is this person's opinion? And that's simply a case of grabbing the transcript and saying, give me 5 unique insights that this influencer or YouTuber or content creator said in this particular document. And they'll come up with it. And then you can look through them and go, yeah, I agree with that. That's interesting. I want to weave that into my narrative. And so the narrative that we did, which had 62 areas to it, could actually be altered. And again, I would do this well before I actually pulled it in here, because you don't really do the images until the end. We've done it a little bit earlier. We've done it Ask About Face. We've done it at the beginning. But the images, what you want to do, that comes in at the end. Anyway, where are we at? Okay, so I reckon we will just finish this off. So I've been launching Happy Dave Research. It's one of my older channels, which grew quite big, and I don't use it. But I figured that I'm coming up with ideas every moment of the day. And this video that you're watching right now was inspired by the fact that there was a problem and I needed to talk to someone about how to resolve the problem. And rather than wasting the ability to share this news with you on a Loom video or a Zoom call, I decided to just live stream it as well. Now, if this is going to change, this is all still accurate, but if you actually want to work one-on-one with me in a session like this, most sessions I do only take about an hour, then I will have a link in the description so that you can come and connect with me. Anyway, I'm Happy Dave. Have a wonderful day. That's 45 minutes. Let's figure out how to end this guy. Okay, like and subscribe, please.